How's it going, guys? Yosef here with another video, and I promised you this time that I'd make a bit of a different video instead of talking about tires for two videos in a row. What I want to talk about today is how do you know if a car is expensive? And I know what you're thinking. You're probably saying, Yosef, that's a stupid question. Everybody knows if a car is expensive. You look at the sticker price, if it has a lot of zeros, it's a lot of money. But here's where you're wrong. There are a lot of different ways that you can calculate cost of things. And today I want to challenge that thinking a little bit and just put an idea in your mind that might help you think about the total cost of ownership in a slightly different way. All right. So behind me, we've got two very, very different cars. Interestingly, though, when they were new, they cost about the same, but both of them have very, very different costs to own. One of them is very expensive to own, the other one, not as much. So here's the thing: when most people go and take a look at a car and they want to figure out how much it's going to cost them, they look at obviously the sticker price. Some of them may look at the maintenance cost. They may take a look at how much the insurance is going to be for them. But most people don't take a look at depreciation, and that is one thing that is more expensive than any other cost out there. So what I want you to do before I talk about which one is actually more expensive to own, I want you to pause the video now and in the comments just write what you think it is. And by the end of the video, we're going to reveal it. So one thing I wanted to talk about before we get into the actual depreciation of the cars is what these cars are. So you've got a Mazda CX-9 behind me. It's a 7-seater SUV. It comes from a company that's relatively reliable. It's got all these great luxury amenities. It's a great overall car. The other car, Volkswagen Golf R, is also a great car, but it's got a very different ethos for it. So this car is really designed for people who want a sporty car, something that's exciting, that's fun, comes from a German company. It's a small hot hatch, as they call it. And the great thing is it balances practicality and sportiness all in one. So now let's talk about the prices. Both of them, when they were new, were around $50,000. The biggest thing is, after 4 years of driving these cars and 90,000 kilometers approximately on the odometer, one of these cars has depreciated $22,000. The other car will have depreciated about $10,000. Now that's a huge difference. I don't know about you, but if I lost $22,000, that would hurt. And if you lost $10,000, well, it's a little bit better, not as bad. So that's the thing that I think a lot of people don't really realize is when you own a car and you drive it for 4 or 5 years, you have to really think about how much it's going to be worth at that point. If you wanted to sell the car, if you were leasing a car, it makes a big difference. So let's take a look at a lease, for example. If you were to lease a vehicle for 3 or 4 years, when they calculate the payment for you, they determine after the lease is done how much your car is going to be worth. And you only pay for the portion of depreciation that you actually use. And what's important about that is if you have another car that you're taking a look at that is a similar interest rate and has similar costs overall, but the depreciation is much steeper, what's happening is you're going to have much larger monthly payment for that car. So it's really important to take a look at cars and their values and their depreciation curves to know which one is really going to be less expensive for you overall. If you're financing the car or you're buying it outright, that's another really important consideration because you want to know in 4 or 5 years when you may want to change up your car, how much is your car really going to be worth and how much are you going to be able to put back into your pocket? So depreciation is a really important concept. On the flip side though, if you're somebody who likes to buy used cars, this is really important as well because let's say you were interested in buying Mercedes S-Class or a BMW 7 Series. Great cars, new, they're over $150,000. But if you give them 3 or 4 years, guess what? They're $80,000 on the used car market. That's a $70,000 difference. That's a lot of money that you can save buying that car used just because it's depreciated a lot. So thinking about the depreciation curve is really important. But let's talk about some cars that are kind of anomalies. If you look at some of the hypercars out there, supercars, really, really high-end stuff, Porsche 911, GT3 RS, really limited production type of car, those cars actually appreciate when you buy them and you drive them a little bit and sell them used. Mercedes G-Wagon, for example, another car, you can buy it, drive it for a few years, and sell it for the same price that you bought it for. Now, the reason why I wanted to bring that up is not because I'm encouraging everyone to go out there and buy a Mercedes G-Wagon or a Porsche 911 GT3 RS, but it's just an important consideration and something that could help you buy a car that maybe you were interested in, that you really wanted to, but thought it's a little out of reach. It's too expensive. But in reality, when you buy it and you sell it, it may not be as expensive as you think it really is. So keep that in mind when you're looking for another car. I hope this is really helpful information. If you were right, comment below. I'm really curious to know if you realize that the Mazda was the bigger depreciating car over the Golf R. And I hope this really helps you out with your next car purchase. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you again in the next video.